instructions.
Both has your instructions in the dressing room. Listen to what I tell you. Most important, I want no notice with the head. Shake hands, go back to your corners. Good luck.
Well, some malevolence in the staring between the two men there. McDonagh, his corner perhaps slightly the cooler. On the far side for Wayne Alexander, John Breen steps out of the ring. I see Eamon McGee working in that corner. Man who floored Ricky Hatton in this very arena a year or two ago. And that old veteran O.J. Abrams in there, lending a helping hand as well. Now, Alexander has got terrific power in his punches. McDonagh's got the skill and the style to frustrate him and maybe to outbox him, but Alexander can bang, no question about it, and that's why you can't take your eyes off him.
He certainly can, John. I mean, for my money, he's probably right now the hardest puncher in any weight division in this country. Single punch I'm talking about. He really can punch. The
way he took out Takalu, I remember, with I think it was a left hand that floored him in the second round when they met, and Takalu went into the fight full of confidence, saying he'd done this and that to Wayne Alexander when they'd sparred and how he was going to box his head off. Well, it didn't quite happen, did it?
McDonagh's an incredibly confident young man, and really sees this and believes this is his big chance to put off what would be a major upset.
Comes from a good gym, Thomas McDonagh, 25 years old. Collyhurst and Moston gym on the road on the way up from Manchester to Oldham in a tough part of town. Works with the likes of Robin Reed, Gary Lockett, Michael Jennings.
None of those guys hit as hard as Alexander, pound for pound, I promise you that. I'm not just saying that because he's a Croydon boy, my hometown, but I'm telling you, the guy, don't blink, because this one could be over quite quickly.
I thought that Wayne Alexander never quite got the credit that he deserved when he went in at that last-minute substitute with Harry Simon, because Simon, who's now out of the ring after suffering a couple of bad car crashes, he was one of the outstanding fighters in the world at the time, the Namibian. He was a really, really good fighter, and it showed terrific guts from Wayne to go in there and take that fight.
You know, and Harry Simon, what a world-class performer he was. And as you said, Alexander took that fight at short notice.
And you remember that great fight between Simon and Winky Wright, and you think how Winky now has gone on to prove himself to be one of the best fighters in the world, heading towards that world middleweight title fight against Jermaine Taylor later in the year. It shows just how good Harry Simon was.
McDonagh just boxing a very cagey first round, using the whole of the ring. Knows he can't afford to stand in range of Wayne Alexander. Could be a mile ahead on points, but Alexander has that dynamite in either hand to turn this one around, if he can catch McDonagh.
Big for a light middleweight, McDonagh, 6 foot he stands. A height advantage of about, if advantage it is, of about 3 inches or so over Wayne Alexander. Wayne, who really craves a big fight against one of the big names of his division. Well, a quiet sort of opening. McDonagh having a little bit of success with those punches thrown from range, and so far Alexander not quite managing to detonate the bombs.
It's fucking nerves. Well, constantly you're doing. Just constantly you're doing.
John Breen, who's been a trainer in Northern Ireland for many a year now, goes back to the Barney Eastwood days.
He's walking on the right hand. He's nervous.
And in the other corner, there's
simple,
Brian Hughes.
Simple what we've done in the gym. That's all you've got to do. Nothing else but just that, straight shots. Right?
Brian Hughes, a wise owl of boxing. And a noted sports historian, recently brought out a book charting the terrific career of Howard Winston.
A scouting round by both boxers in that first round. No one really, you know, forced the pace. Obviously, Alexander just stepping off, trying to cut off the ring, but McDonagh doing quite a good job in being quite evasive.
Yeah, not a lot to choose between them. It's a difficult round to score. I see you've just given it to Alexander. I wouldn't have argued if it had gone the other way, to be honest.
Well, you know, I mean, if you want the championship, you've got to go and take it, and right now McDonagh's not doing that, but this one's sure to catch fire at some point.
Alexander just patiently trying to cut off the ring and get in range, and McDonagh doing a little bit of showboating in the corner, trying to invite Alexander in. Alexander at 32. I suppose there's the theory that the McDonagh camp would have, that he's not quite the fighter that he was. Oh dear, well, he threw everything there.
He must have urged you, John. He must have urged you, John, because that one nearly put the lights out.
Like a discus throw.
Well, as methodical as he is, Alexander, he's effective. Now, he reminds me a lot of Carl Thompson, in as much as, you know, he takes a lot of stick, but, you know, if you blink and take your eyes off him, you'll pay the price, because he's got dynamite in either hand.
Carl Thompson, who's been a bit of an avoided figure over the last few years, still keeps himself terrifically fit. He always felt a little bit sour that Johnny Nelson never wanted to give him another go. Well, that's good work from McDonagh.
Alexander just a little bit at not getting his range right at the moment.
McDonagh's fighting a good fight at the moment, Duke. He's using the full periphery of the ring.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of swings from Alexander. His range isn't right. He hasn't found his timing as yet. A little bit one-paced, a little bit flat-footed. Needs to close the range a lot quicker than he's doing, allowing McDonagh much too much space.
It's a very different fight to the one we just witnessed between Macronelli and Hobson. But Wayne Alexander has been behind before and turned it around. 18 knockout wins in his 23 victories. A lot of interest among well-known fighters in this event tonight. I saw Alex Arthur on the far side of the ring, Ricky Hatton's here somewhere, and all, of course, for the arrival of the two fighters who are going to entertain us tonight. And Joe Calzaghe has made his way into the M.E.N arena. There he is. He's looked extremely happy and relaxed right the way through this week. You know, I really have been impressed with the way in which he is mentally as he heads towards this fight. In marked contrast to Lacey, who's been pretty much surly and non-communicative all week. And there's Calzaghe. He's been there before so many times, and here the biggest defence of them all. And there's McDonagh with Brian Hughes.
Step in behind the jab, and the right hand will come off your right hip.
Wayne Alexander at the moment is the man with the problems to solve. He's not getting into range. Third round. And, well, I'd score the second round to McDonagh. How did you see it, Duke?
Yep, I would give that one to McDonagh. But as I said before, this one's sure to catch fire. You know, Alexander doesn't get paid for overtime, and he'll be looking to get in there now, close this boy down. They've obviously told him in the corner, put some urgency into your work and start getting busy in there.
McDonagh the busier, and Alexander not throwing too much of note at the moment. McDonagh, who's had good wins on his record, beaten Bradley Price. He's a tough customer. He gave Michael Jennings all the trouble he needed in that fight last year. Good wins against the likes of Delroy Mellis and Eugenio Montero, also on points. But here it's a step up in class again in fighting Wayne Alexander.
Alexander's the boss on the inside. McDonagh has to keep it long, keep the ring, use the whole perimeter of the ring, keep it nice and long, stay on the back foot, and just try and pick the champion off as he starts to ascend.
Alexander trying to get inside, and he's headhunting, isn't he? He's going looking for the bingo punch. He's not finding it right now.
Yeah, his attack is just all too predictable right now.
That's good work from McDonagh.
This kind of pace will suit McDonagh.
Well, he's doing well to keep his man more often than not right now, but more often than not is keeping him at range and tying him up inside when they get close like this, but he is picking him off from distance.
But we know where the power lies with these two. The power looks obviously with Alexander.
Alexander just plodding after McDonagh. Well, Alexander got in close and then didn't land anything then in that exchange. He finally got into range and nothing came.
Yeah, as I said before, John, he's a little bit predictable in his attack. It's easy enough to read, obviously, if you're a well-schooled boxer, and right now McDonagh's doing a good job in just keeping the champion at bay.
Good footwork by McDonagh. Used the ropes well. Get back into centre ring. And he's just outworking Alexander at the moment and fighting a smart fight. It's got to be McDonagh's round. I didn't see Wayne Alexander doing a great deal at all in that third round. Here's McDonagh. And for the most part, there was a lot of that. Those are good, accurate punches. They might not be the most hurtful in the world, but they are on the button.
Well, they're flashy little combinations from McDonagh.
There's a right over the top from Alexander, only a glancing blow, which is probably just as well so far as McDonagh's concerned. Really want to walk into one of those. Alexander's not quite found his range yet.
Walk on the right hand, walk on the everything. We're sitting out of the top, just do with it. Get him anywhere, let him feel it. There you go.
You know that you're put the 12 rights, so you can't. You see that a wee bit of nonsense there. Look, he's same again, that's all you got to just keep on doing it, right? So I just keep it forward. That's all you got to do.
Second down, round 4.
Well, the Alexander corner doesn't seem too concerned, but I think he's slipping behind on the scorecards at the moment.
Well, Alexander needs to close McDonagh down quicker. He's following him around the ring instead of stepping across, meeting McDonagh onto the right hand and then coming back with the left hooks. He's actually following him around the ring and allowing him too much space.
Perhaps inevitably the intensity is a contrast to the fight that we saw before. That's better from Alexander.
Yeah, a bit better now, a bit more urgency behind Alexander's work. Doesn't want to get sloppy with his attack though.
McDonagh, those 27 victories, only 6 of them have come inside the distance. It's a statistic which sort of tells its own story about his punching power. More of the boxer, rangy sort of fighter.
McDonagh seems to be throwing more of the sort of don't hit me punches now. He doesn't want to get in range with Alexander, and he's boxing a little bit more tentative in this round.
You heard M.E.N between rounds saying, come on, let's just let him start to feel it, and John Breen as well saying, get your punches, plant yourself, deliver them with greater ferocity, and he's just trying to do that now, trying to really make McDonagh realise that he's into a solid fight. And there's a good body shot goes in from Alexander, and he only just missed with the follow-up headshot. It's better from Alexander, working his way out of the clinch. Shrug of the shoulders, as much as to say, well, if that's all you've got, I've got no problem.
Well, McDonagh's just kidding a little bit now.
Yeah, he does like to do that, doesn't he? He likes to try and play the mind games in the ring.
Alexander's seen it all before.
Yeah, and if Alexander lands one of his big shots on the button, McDonagh's mind games are going to be a little bit more difficult to play.
Absolutely. Better round for the champion.
Yeah, certainly.
Needs to close McDonagh down though a lot quicker. Not go winging in with sloppy shots. Close him down real quick. Nice high guard.
The 1-2 pit-pat shots towards the head from McDonagh, and then followed up with the big body shot from Alexander. So he pays you money and takes your choice. Do you go for volume of punches or do you go for quality of shot? I think Alexander, for me, won that round, Duke.
Yeah, I've been inclined to agree with you there, John.
McDonagh getting the best of the early exchanges, but Wayne Alexander now starting to make the power tell.
Keep your feet planted, hand on the left, hook right on. Keep your feet planted, hand on the left, hook right on. Come on, concentrate.
Keep the feet planted. Throw that left hook. As the words from John Breen.
This guy's fucking, you haven't even hit it. You haven't even hit it.
And in the other corner,
Hands up high all the time. You're winning this easy, I'm telling you. You can only lose it yourself. He's so frustrated. That's
saying that you're winning it easily. Well, I'm not sure that that's quite the case. But I think there's an argument that he won the first three. I know you gave one the other way, Duke, but I think there is an argument that he won the first three, McDonagh. Although Alexander coming back well in the fourth. But you're the guy who's been in there, so I shall give you due respect.
Yeah, well, I've got it dead level up until this point.
Duke McKenzie, of course, a world champion at 3 different weights. Back in fighting days.
A long time ago, John.
It's not that long ago. I commentated on him. Well, I suppose it could be a long way ago anyway. Alexander trying to cut off the ring, trying to get into range. McDonagh, of course, has other ideas. That's better from Alexander.
Thomas, let him go. Let him go.
The shouts of Mickey Van, the referee from Leeds. Let him go. Instructions to Thomas McDonagh.
See, Alexander lunges in behind a big right hand and it's never going to land. He needs to close the range quicker, needs to get into punching range quicker, then drop the right hand. It's not a hard-fought, paced fight either, not by either man. So, you know, Alexander can afford to start taking 1 or 2 chances.
Well, he's going to have to, because he's kind of fighting a phony war at the moment, isn't he? And he's got to take a gamble to get in range to land his shots.
Absolutely. See, he leads with the right hand, and it's just going over the back of McDonagh's head every time. He's reading it quite easily.
Frustrating sort of fights for some of the fans to watch this one after the dramatics of the last.
Well, Alexander's used to being in the trenches, and that's where he likes it, up close and personal. But McDonagh's not just giving him that kind of a fight.
Well, he's done a good job tying Alexander up inside. Alexander now just starting to take a little bit more confidence from the way things are going, maybe, as he landed that right hand in close.
But at some point, you know, McDonagh's going to have to stand his ground and fight with Alexander.
Well, he'll try not to. If you can keep jabbing and moving and just tying him up inside, I'm sure he'll be perfectly happy to go the 12 rounds if he can.
Yeah, but he's going to have to try. He's going to have to take physical control of this fight and fight like he wants to win.
For just joining us, of course, the big fight coming up. Calzaghe against Lacey. We're expecting it shortly after 2 o'clock. And the crowd is filling up all the time here, some 16,000 or so in the huge M.E.N arena as they go back to their corners. And Wayne Alexander, the WBU light middleweight champion, The man from Croydon at this stage is finding things a little bit tough in there.
You gotta work now. You're waiting how long is long one?
Waiting a wee bit too long on that one.
Gotta work, keep your lines out. He stole that round. He's there with 3 points, 1, 2, 3, and he's away again.
They're admitting that McDonagh stole that one. They stole that round. The words from John Breen.
All right.
Well, McDonagh, in that round, he was like a thief in the night. You just wouldn't know he was there. He was in and out before Alexander could even get his punches off.
Back in that straight line. Right, you're frustrating now. I think it's his left eye.
10 seconds bonus.
Right, come on, Tom, same thing. Plenty of jabs.
Yeah, you're frustrating him, and certainly he is. And McDonagh, I think, is winning this fight at this stage. I think Mickey Van would like to see a little bit more action. He wants to see a proper fight. He's telling him to get on with it. Mickey Van, who seems to be one of those individuals who never gets any older. I think there's the old picture in the attic somewhere. You wouldn't think he was into his 60s, still prancing around the ring and keeping himself very fit. Been a star-class referee for a long time, Mickey.
Yeah, he's one of our top referees. He really is a real no-nonsense type character guy. I just feel a change of tactics from Alexander now. You know, the right hand he's been trying all night long hasn't worked. He just needs to adapt, which he's more than capable of doing. Boxing a much higher class than McDonagh, so you would expect him now to really just, you know, just really try and boss McDonagh.
Amir Khan at ringside on the far side. Alex Arthur there, the terrific Scottish fighter. Kevin Mitchell, Ricky Hatton at ringside. Mikkel Kessler, WBA super middleweight champion, who's looking for a fight against either Lacey or Calzaghe. He's here with his promoter Mogens Paller over from Denmark. Glenn McCrory, former IBF cruiserweight champion himself, somewhere at ringside as well, I'm told. Well, the fans are starting to get a little bit disinterested in this one. Gordon Ramsay is in the crowd. In fact, there he is, just on the far side of the ring.
Well, this round's there for the winning by either boxer. The pattern of the fight hasn't changed from the beginning of the fight to this point.
I just think Gordon Ramsay would make rather a good referee.
No, I don't think so, John, because he'd be too busy swearing in there.
My point exactly. Closing seconds of the 6th round, and another round with not a great deal of drama in it. And Alexander somehow is going to have to step onto the gas here if he's not going to see his title just slip away. How do you score this one, Duke?
Well, I'll give this round even because nobody's done anything.
Disappointing sort of fight so far, this, it has to be said. But stay with us, the big one is yet to come. Lacey and Calzaghe. Fights which they're saying is the most significant super middleweight title fight since 1994, when Roy Jones squared off against James Toney. Some of the people at ringside, there's Gordon Ramsay speaking to Amir Khan. And there's Ricky Hatton. Some people thought he was totally persona non grata so far as Frank Warren was concerned, but no, not the case. He gets the invite, and there he is, sitting at the back with his trainer Billy Graham in the hat.
Oh, come on, keep that concentration right now. Straight shots, Thomas. Take your time. It's a big ring, you can use it, he can't. Take your time now. Straight 1, 2, simple.
Round 7.
Well, Wayne Alexander slow coming off his stool, and his right eye is getting marked up, Duke. There's a swelling under the right eye. And it's, in fact, both eyes are starting to look a little bit swollen. Wayne Alexander and McDonagh's jabs and accurate headshots are starting to take their toll.
Well, I promise you, John, he's looked far worse than that. I wouldn't worry about that. He's used to having both his eyes nearly closed and pulling it out of the bag. I tell you, I've seen this guy come back from the brink time and time again.
Well, he's not quite at the brink yet, but he's kind of got it in sight.
Well, there are times in this fight where Alexander looks just a little bit disinterested. The fighters can feel sorry for themselves at any given point in a fight. They can just switch off mentally. Alexander would be far happier if McDonagh stood his ground and just brought the fight to him and really just, you know, went toe-to-toe with him.
Well, of course, that was never going to be, was it? Left hand from Alexander, and McDonagh does the play acting, as much as to say, well, that really hurt. Which, of course, it didn't, because Alexander didn't hit him flush. Wayne Alexander's only had 6 fights in the last 4 years. He's been a little bit inactive for varying reasons.
Well, obviously McDonagh's height is giving him all the problems he could want. He's finding it very difficult to close him down quick enough where it can be effective. You know, he really needs to start using his jab if he wants to try and bring McDonagh down to where he needs him to be, you know, feint to the body, then bring the jab to the head and whack it back over the top.
A few pleasantries exchanged between the two fighters. Mickey Van might invite them to shut up.
Alexander's probably telling him to stop running so he can get him into his kind of a fight, but McDonagh's got other ideas, obviously. He just sees this as him giving Alexander a little bit of a boxing lesson.
Well, that was neat from McDonagh, wasn't it? Spun his way out of trouble as well as Alexander tried to respond.
Well, it's not an exciting fight, John, we've said that before, but what McDonagh's doing is quite effective in this round.
Very fit, McDonagh.
We'll see, he's just tying the champion up there on the inside, just holding the right arm, only allowing him to work with one arm, steps back and then just tries to just nick the rounds.
Well, there goes the big right hand from Alexander, but he telegraphed it a bit, and McDonagh able to just get his glove up in time. Let's go to Gabriel Clark. He's with Amir Khan.
Amir, great to see you. Is Joe Calzaghe one of your heroes? Is that fair to say? You're so looking forward to seeing Joe fight tonight.
He is, yeah. I've been looking up. I look up to him still, yeah. Now I'm a professional as well. I'm in the same game as him, but yeah, when I was young, I used to watch his fights, and I still do now. And yeah, it's going to be a tough fight for him today. Is
it? How tough do you think it's going to be against Jeff Lacey?
It'll be very tough. You know, Jeff is one of the best boxers out there. He's strong, but I think Joe's got everything to. He's got everything to beat him. I think he has to just catch him cold and knock him out.
Is the Manchester crowd going to get behind this Welsh Italian as well? That's a question, isn't it?
Definitely.
Get them lively.
Definitely, yeah. Look, it's a sellout. If you look at it, it's thousands of people here supporting Joe, and definitely they'll get behind him and they'll do a good job, yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Amir.
Amir Khan, who's going to be fighting in Glasgow in 3 weeks, March 25th, when Scott Harrison defends his WBO featherweight title against Juan Guzman of the Dominican Republic, a fight which you're going to be able to see on 5 Live. And here, Wayne Alexander, the defending WBU light middleweight champion here on ITV, is defending his title against Thomas McDonagh.
Well, Alexander just really trying to pick the pace up in this fight, trying to keep him close, trying to keep him tight, trying to close him down. And now McDonagh just ties up Alexander on the inside and won't allow him to work. Took a right hand off of Alexander early in the round, didn't like it, so needs to get back to doing what he does best, and that's be evasive.
McDonough's got to find more here to work his way away from that. But having said that, Alexander is just being tied up, isn't he?
He certainly is, John. He's just not being... He just hasn't been able to force himself on McDonagh. Most of his shots have been telegraphed tonight. They've been easy to read. He hasn't been able to put his combinations together.
Alexander trying to run that big left hand, but it again just whistled through thin air. And McDonagh is saying to him, well, that's just not good enough. And he's absolutely right. If you're just joining us, Enzo Macronelli defended his title successfully earlier on in a bruising confrontation with Mark Hobson. Narrow points decision. And coming up, the big one. Joe Calzaghe against Jeff Lacey. Star attraction of the night. Wayne Alexander's corner imploring him to back him up. It's easier said than done.
Well, McDonagh's doing a good job in tying Alexander up when he gets in close.
Spoiling sort of tactic that he's employing now, isn't he? He's just getting in close and clawing his way around Alexander.
And every time Alexander gets in punching range, McDonagh's like an octopus. He just wraps his arms around him, ties him up.
Well, Alexander staring at McDonagh as he makes his way back to the corner, but stares don't do enough, and McDonagh did well.
Come on. You're getting sloppy now, right? Because you only think you're tired. Now stop it. Come on, get yourself ready. Come on now. You're going to throw this away. After all the hard work you've done, you're going to throw it away. Come on now, Thomas. Right, get yourself together. You've got to be first in with them punches. You're letting him punch here. You're giving him confidence. You can't allow this man to do that. Keep him on his back foot and not throwing the jab. You've stopped doing that now. Right? Come on, you're going to throw it away.
In the other corner, here's John Breen.
Don't let him just slip in it. It's not working a lot 2 or 3 rounds. You've got to keep working him. Keep working him. Body punching hurting him. Working the body and then switch to the head.
Work to the body and switch to the head.
All right, stand close. Come on now.
All right, Sammy, all right. You sure?
Seconds up. Round 9.
Is Alexander ahead, Duke, or is he trailing on your card? How have you got it?
Yeah, I've got him trailing. I've got him trailing by 2 rounds.
Right hand from McDonagh, just sending Alexander into reverse gear momentarily.
You just feel it's anybody's fight. I mean, obviously, as I've said, I think I got McDonagh up by a couple of rounds, but you just feel that one shot from Alexander can just sway this one back in his favour. You know, he's not getting beat out of sight. He's just allowing this guy just to get off just a little bit too quick.
Just heard between rounds that Brian Hughes, McDonagh's trainer, was just starting to get a little bit concerned. He was saying that he was getting sloppy. Never been 12 rounds. McDonagh, though, has been 12 rounds twice. It's more, I think, not an indication of the fact that he's fought at better class. It's the fact that he's not such a big puncher as Alexander. Alexander usually manages to get his man out of there. 18 knockout victories, remember, to his name.
See, when Alexander goes to the body of McDonagh wraps his elbows right into his chest and tries to keep it tight, and as you see there, he does all the spoiling tactics really well. He just ties Alexander up, gives him a little taste of what he's got to give, and goes missing.
Alexander is just starting to get into range now more. Is this, even at this late stage, starting to become more his fight, and play acting doesn't impress judges, which is what Thomas McDonagh was doing there.
I'd like to see Alexander with a real good two-fisted assault, just to see how McDonagh copes under that kind of pressure. There is more urgency behind Alexander in this round.
Alexander's done better here. McDonagh, although he's frustrating him there, is not doing too much work himself.
Still Alexander just plods forward. There's the predictable right hand again. Grunts and groans from Alexander. He's putting everything into the punches, just enough to hurt, or try and hurt McDonagh.
This one went in low on the blind side of the referee. Wayne Alexander getting away with it.
Alexander's round.
Yeah, I think so. It's not particularly pretty to watch, but he's doing more. And he's starting to close the gap. Still in this fight. Maybe Alexander's round. Getting closer to the big one now. Calzaghe against Lacey.
Put your shots together again now.
And there's Joe just limbering up backstage here. Defending is the title which he won way back in 1997, a fight against Chris Eubank in Sheffield. And here, arguably, with the biggest fight of his career. Take a look again at some of the action from that last round, Duke.
Yeah, McDonagh doesn't like it when Alexander starts whacking him to the body. He doesn't like it at all.
Left hand, which I thought was low. It was borderline, wasn't it? It was on the belt. Wasn't in the danger area.
Come on, he's just as tired as you. Come on, Thomas.
They're getting worried in that corner, though.
Round 10.
10th round. And Alexander might be edging closer. It could be that this is going down to these last 3 rounds. This might be decisive.
Well, McDonagh can't be tired. You know, he's done a good job on the back foot, just boxing at his own pace, really.
Well, the corner was saying, come on, you know, he's just as tired as you are, but Alexander is definitely starting to do better now, and the spring is going out of the stride and the step of Thomas McDonagh. 25-year-old Mancunian.
Yeah, Alexander doing a better job now, just closing him down and, you know, using both hands, which is exactly what he needs to do. It's from this point where he has to start punching. He's close enough to land the shots, so just got to use what he's got. That's better from the champion.
Yeah, I think Alexander, the further this fight is going, the more he's getting back into it.
This McDonagh now starts to look a little bit disinterested. Doesn't want to get hit, ties the champion up, but not working off that.
Yeah, it's not much more than a containing job from McDonagh now, is it?
He seems to have switched off.
And McDonagh's moaning to the referee, which is never a particularly good sign. Okay, there might have been one which was going in low, but Mickey Van's saying it's you who's dragging him on.
It certainly isn't a good sign. McDonagh's concentrations momentarily just seems to have slipped off.
Yeah, he's losing his way a little bit in this fight, and there's still key minutes to go. Body punches from Wayne Alexander have been increasingly effective. A bit of a mess with the clinches once again, but McDonagh this time elects to box his way out of it.
It's become quite untidy. There's a lot of holding, a lot of spoiling tactics going on from McDonagh.
Has McDonagh done enough? Or is he doing enough? I think he's losing this round again.
Yeah, he's losing this round, but he's giving this round away. It's an absolute gift for Alexander. He doesn't like the body shots at all.
As one went low then, and again McDonagh's complaining. Complaining about low shots.
That wasn't a low blow.
Now Mickey Van's giving time out, I think. He's allowing him time out, and Wayne Alexander's going to get an admonishment for that.
That wasn't a low blow.
Well, it was borderline, wasn't it? But I don't think it's, you know, I think he's making the most of it.
Yeah, he's hamming that one up.
Maybe. Well, there we go, another round over, and I think another round to Wayne Alexander. Let's see what Brian Hughes is saying.
Throw it all away. This is the last 2 rounds.
This is good work from Wayne Alexander with body shots there. They certainly weren't low, Duke.
He doesn't like the body shots at all.
And then towards the end of the round, here goes another one. That's not low. That's not low. That's borderline. That was on the belt, but it's not as, you know. I mean, it's still not as low as to be particularly damaging, is it?
Absolutely. Now that wasn't a low blow. Caught him right on the top of the cup, but I just feel he made the most of it. Looking for a little bit of a breather.
He hates the body, keep concentrating on the body when you're in the big going a single shot down in the body, work his body too. He hates it, you want to see him whinging. You want to see his fucking face when he's whinging. Come on, let's go and do it. See it, take the body.
I've got the champion winning the last 2 rounds.
Yep, and he's certainly got himself right back into this fight. And good body shots again, and McDonagh didn't like it. Another one borderline low, and McDonagh is really starting to be busted up by this body onslaught from Alexander. Another big body shot. Left hand is the one that is doing the most damage.
Yeah, and he's got a cross-arm defense on the inside, so that'll tell you just how badly he doesn't like the body shots. He's actually stopped fighting on the inside now, McDonagh. See, look where his right arm is. He brings it right across his stomach to protect his ribs. So the champion now, he's found a way through. Just got to keep his punches up as Alexander. When he launches his body attack, keep the punches up ever so slightly, then come back over the top.
Oh, he's taken a point away. He's taken a point away.
Well, you can't blame the referee at all, really, because he doesn't like the body shots. He's holding far too much, and the referee's just lost patience with him.
I think Mickey Van's absolutely right.
Yeah. Well, you know, we've said before, John, he's a no-nonsense referee. He just won't stand for it. And McDonagh's going to have to change his tactics and fight a different fight.
McDonagh, who started so well, and is it now all starting to ebb away?
Well, this is generally the difference between champion and challenger when we get into the last third of the fight, last quarter of the fight. But the champion has been there before and can suck it up and dig in.
Concerted effort from Alexander to bust McDonagh up with body shots in the closing stages of this fight.
Champion just got to keep his shots up. Well, McDonagh's not going to win this just by single punching. He's really got to put his punches together.
Joe Calzaghe against Jeff Lacey, the big fight for you tonight on ITV coming up. But for the moment, Wayne Alexander with his back to you. Is he doing enough to retain his WBU light middleweight title?
I think so, John. I mean, it's not been a spectacular fight, hard fight, been no dramas, but just got the champion now ahead.
Well, I think Thomas McDonagh in this round has done precious little. There's one little flurry to the head, but apart from that, very little indeed. And Alexander has tucked another round into the bag.
That's good. That's good.
See some of the action from the round, and it was body shots, wasn't it, which Alexander was being successful with, and that was as a result of that, McDonagh was wanting to hold on, and you could see all the way he was just trying to cover up.
Absolutely, that became a round of survival for McDonagh. He didn't want to unload. Became very negative and very tentative.
Let's listen to the corner.
Last round, yeah. And let's go. Work on him, work on him. He's going to bum me. He's going to bum me. Fucking work on him. He's winning.
Stay pucking.
Work on him with the left hook. That was the message there.
Come on now, take deep breaths now. Suck it up, Thomas. Suck it up, come on. Nice deep breaths. In and out all the time. Don't fight with him. In and out. You understand me? Now come on.
In and out, in and out. Use your mobility, use your reach. 3 minutes remaining. Alexander in the black shorts, the champion, in the final round. And the pattern continues.
The champion's only really come to life over the last quarter of this fight. You know, a lot of the early rounds were scored to McDonagh, but a lot of the middle rounds were even, but McDonagh's just, I think he's given the fight away.
Alexander bravely coming forward. His title absolutely on the line. Talked about him turning fights around when he was on the brink. Has he turned another one around tonight?
McDonagh just closes up shop when Alexander gets close to him. He's been effective when he's been at range.
That's a good left hand from McDonagh. We've not had many of those of late. McDonagh trying to trade.
Let him go, Thomas! Let him go!
I wonder if that 1 point deduction which we saw in the last round, I wonder if that might be a crucial factor. Could be.
I think so, John. Very, very crucial.
Alexander has had certainly the better of the second half of this fight. Made a pretty ordinary start to it, but as the spring went out of McDonagh's legs, the champion came back, and it's not been pretty to watch, a lot of it. But McDonagh, for my way of looking at it, McDonagh has not done a great deal for the last 3, 4, 5 rounds.
Well, he hasn't taken the championship, not in my opinion also. Sure, he's had nice little spurts where he's done well, but you know, he's had a round deducted also, and the champion's had a better quarter of this fight.
Well, coming into the last 15 seconds of the round, big left hook to the body from Alexander and the right over the top. McDonagh's bravely coming forward, and that's getting a roar of acclaim from his Manchester fans, but I think it might be too little too late, but you never know. McDonagh celebrates as though he's won it. Alexander thinks he's won it. The two hug. Not a great fight. And it's going to go to the judges' cards. Alexander thinks he's done it. McDonagh thinks he's done it. Well, we will wait and see. How did you have it in the end, Duke?
I got Alexander by 2.
Alexander by 2 from Duke Mackenzie. And we, in a second or two, will get the confirmation of the result. This was some of the action in the last round, and it had been a pretty dire sort of exchange before that, but at last a few punches were landed as McDonagh tried to gamble. There's Alexander a bit busted up around his eyes. M.E.N doing the work there. And there's Thomas McDonagh with his trainer Brian Hughes. And still we wait for the scorecards. They're being checked over by Boxing Board of Control officials. McDonagh thinks he's got it. Two trainers shaking hands, centre ring. I wonder, is it going to be another very close one? I thought Alexander did enough, but he didn't do a great deal early on in the fight. Still, we wait for the result to be passed up. It's taking a long time, but now the deliberations are over, and it is handed to our Master of Ceremonies, Jimmy Lennon Jr. And I think in just a second or two we will get it. Has Alexander retained the WBU light middleweight title, or is it about to change hands, and is it going to go to Thomas McDonagh? We can find out now. Here's Jimmy.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a split decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Reg Thompson scores the bout 115 to 114 in favor of Thomas McDonagh. Judge at ringside, Larry O'Connell scores the bout 114 to 113 in favor of Wayne Alexander. And judge at ringside, Dave Paris scores the bout 116 to 111 in favor of the winner and still champion, Wayne Alexander.
Wayne Alexander retains his title, a huge difference in the quality and the excitement value of our two live fights tonight. You be sure to stick with us, because the big one, Calzaghe and Lacey, will be on their way in round about half an hour's time. You want excitement? This fella raised the roof here at the M.E.N. when he fought Costa Zoo back in the summer. It is Ricky Hatton, and he's talking to Gabriel Clark.
Ricky, great to see you back. You've been wonderfully welcomed, of course. Tonight, Joe Calzaghe, what are your thoughts about the big fight?
For starters, very, very excited about it. You know, as far as boxing matches come, they don't come much better than this. Unification fight, two undefeated fighters, big punches, absolutely fantastic. And I'm in Joe's corner tonight. I think he's going to do it.
How does he do it? What have got to be his tactics?
Well, I think he's got that little bit more experience, you know, than what Lacey's got at this level. Lacey's an IBF champion, but I think he's only had 22 fights or something like that. So Joe has the added experience, which I think will stand him in good stead, especially with this big, you know, capacity crowd. But Lacey's a big puncher, dangerous puncher, but he arcs the punches. He throws them very wide. And Joe's a very good hard puncher straight down the middle, and I think he's got a good chance of nailing him.
You made this place rock, of course, when you were here winning against Costa Zoo. Can Joe do the same, and how important is the atmosphere going to be tonight to get it going on his side? Yeah, very important, and you know, the atmosphere, even though Joe's not from Manchester, you know, the Manchester fans, and there's plenty of Welsh fans come down as well, they'll be right behind him, and the place will be absolutely rocking in a bit, and it'll be a little bit daunting for Lacey. You know, I think you know, he's not got the experience Joe's got, and maybe when he gets in the ring and the crowd starts you know, ranting and raving, I think Joe will be better to cope with it than Lacey, I think. Thanks very much, Ricky. Let's hope for another great British night. Thank you. Hope so.
Both fighters in the ring behind me. We'll see another live fight for you soon. Gabriel's been a busy chap, though. Before he spoke to Ricky Hatton, he managed to snatch a word with Joe Calzaghe.
Well, it's been wonderfully relaxed so far, Joe. Your preparation has been